Ooh, yeah. You are now tuned in to Monday Night Live. Yeah. AKA the Hangout Stream, but also known as the Chill Stream. Yeah. As we continue to roll the dice. Roll the dice. Yeah. The dice. The old clickety clack. On this brave new world, yeah. Relying entirely upon a virtual laissez-faire. In the year of our Lord, ooh yeah. 4, 7, 11, 2022, yeah. And brought to you by yours truly, the man, broadcasting from behind the curtain. You know who I am. Because if you don't know by now, you can visit www.livefreeliverich.com or simply Google this name and you can find out. Now, for those of you who already know, welcome to the show. Go ahead, drop me a comment, say hello. Like I always say, there's no need to be shy. I just like to know who took the time to stop by. And for those of you who don't know, because perhaps you're new, that's okay too. Because I'm going to go ahead and break it down for you. You see, as far as I'm concerned, this is your show. And I'm just here to fill the role of producer. So I come on here 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 6 p.m. Pacific every Monday night. And I boot up this live stream so we all can come together, readers and writers alike. And you guys supply me with things to talk about. And in return, I fulfill my role and I raise awareness for various projects from around the underground scene. I become acquainted with you, you get to know me, and together we discover what's going down within the realm of independent publishing. Which brings me right into my first segment of the night, where I like to shine a spotlight on some books that are currently available or coming soon to an online marketplace near you. What's up, Rainer? Awesome. Glad to see someone stop by while I'm live. That's always a treat. Even if I only get you for a little while. All right, this first one comes from Twitter. From the last name. I was practicing the last name, but I don't even know if I'm close. Sabrine Aluali. We're going to go with Aluali. Thanks. Sabrine writes, here's my poetry collection that details my struggles with mental health, gives advice to others, and shares dark truths and uplifting hope. Along with open vulnerability, it's got my entire heart and soul in it. Heart and soul. I hope it can be of comfort and inspiration. That is from Sabrine Aluali. Let's check it out. When are you going to start your YouTube channel, Rainer? All right. There we go. That looks better. This is Where Darkness Meets Light by Sabrine Aluali. Here's the blurb. A poetry collection depicting the trials and tribulations of living with mental illness and the journey of one girl's struggles to try and overcome them. From the difficult beginnings of life that contributed to her illness to the present day where she still faces her demons day in, day out. Full of harsh truths, comforting truths, and humbling truths. A book that will have you reflecting on your own life, where you can make changes, improvements, and start to really challenge your regular ways of thinking, featuring descriptions of hope as well as woeful testimonies. Each poem illustrates the thoughts and emotions this young woman has gone through and continues to go through, having written this book to inspire and open the eyes of all who come across it, as well as hopes of breaking the stigmas around mental health and mental illness. It says the the age group for this is between 12 to 18 years. That's interesting. 77 pages long, and obviously poetry. Aluali. You should. You don't have to make it like a grand like a big huge grand production. Talk about some books. Hop in on the Booktube trends. Do a tag video. If you do a tag video, tag me in it. I'll give it a shot. All right, let's see who's up next. Now, I believe this guy's been on the live stream before. Another poetry writer. Ismael Rodriguez. He writes from Twitter, "How much do I love you? Let me count the ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and sometimes even 10. I don't know. But he did give me a link to his books. So let's check them out. I think I chose Desolation Tales because I'm dark and foreboding like that, by Ismael S. Rodriguez. If you have a book on the market or coming soon, can drop me the link and I will add you to the queue. I believe I already got, Rainer, I believe I already got your link for your new book that you're working on. I wasn't sure, it was the other day on Twitter, I wasn't sure if you wanted me to just do like a book. Did you just want me to do like a book shout out, or to read, like, because I noticed that it was like free to read on Royal Roads, something like that. Did you want me to read the first chapter? Because I could do that. I could do that instead of just doing like reading the blurb. All right, Desolation Tales by Ismael Rodriguez Jr. Short one. The blurb is literally poetry collection by Ismael S. Rodriguez Jr. Short, sweet, to the point. So I guess I have to say something about the cover. I don't know. We got this female here. We got this woman with her kerosene lamp. I don't know if there's some sort of theme to this or what. I would say maybe give a little bit more. You could give a little bit more, at least to do the product some justice. But comes in at 140 pages. It's like a pretty big book of poetry there. He writes a lot of poetry. All right. Well, if I have permission, then I'll do that. I'll read the first chapter. I'll look it over and see how long it is and see if I can fit it into a show. Because my list, I'll tell you right now, my list for book shout outs is pretty long. I'm nearing that 100. I'm nearing close to 100 authors now. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm glad some people are getting on board with it. Preferably I'd like to get more people on the show while I'm live, but I don't know if it's because it's on a Monday night or what. But moving right along. Maybe I should, well, I've had some other ideas kicking around that I might reveal later, as far as trying to get more people involved. All right, another one from Twitter. They all come from Twitter. Have you read these poetry books? If not, you should. I just released them 2 months ago. All right. And we have, just in time for the season, Summer, Lovely Poems Just for You by Ravshan Kuzibaev. Kuzibaev. 3 poetry books in a row. This is a poetry episode, I suppose. A lot of poets, I notice. A lot of poetry circulates on Twitter. I noticed that. Maybe that's because of the word count limit on the posts. But there's a lot of poets floating around on Twitter. Yeah. But I don't want to do it. The thing is, I don't want to do it on the same night that, seems like everybody else is streaming. So that's why I chose Monday nights. Plus, Monday nights for me is always like, my thought process behind it is like Mondays kind of suck for a lot of people. So I thought, maybe if I could do my stream on a Monday night, it might be something fun that, writers and artists and whatnot could look forward to and get involved, something to get involved with, and just come in here and chill. Kind of take their mind off the day and kind of give them, break into the new work week, or ease into the new work week, I should say. All right. Summer. Lovely poems just for you. Here's the blurb. This book is a collection of poems written by the author about his love for someone during summer. Ooh, a summer love. The book also tells how much he wants to share his love of nature with his sunshine. The author also expresses his feelings about his desires to be with someone who has the same love as him. He reveals his emotions in the form of rhyming verses and mixes them with his deep feelings, good mood, and sense of humor. Comes in at 106 pages. More poetry. Summer love. All right, one more book. This one is not poetry. We do have one novel tonight. Coming from Trent Whippler. Trent writes, in the future, there will be no jails, no judges, and no juries. Only executioners. Resolver ebook on sale now at Amazon, Kindle, Kobo, Indigo Books, Barnes and Noble. And links on his website. So you got his website there too. It's like he's put sci-fi in there. Almost said revolver at first. Resolver. All right. Resolver by Trent Whippler. A city on the brink of disaster, a system on the edge of collapse. Only one man can stop it. In the corporate city of Graylix, there are no arrests, no jails, no judges, and no juries. Only executioners. Gregory Hunt is a resolver, a cybernetic security officer. Backed by an array of surveillance technology and armed with the cutting edge of weaponry, Hunt patrols the city's lower levels and enforces the law with deadly efficiency. On a night like every other, a seemingly random encounter will lead Hunt down paths that challenge everything he believes in and expose the fragility of the status quo in Graylix. Beneath the orderly facade of a smoothly running machine lies a disenfranchised population barely kept in check by draconian measures. And now, their seething anger has given rise to a shadow corporation that has infiltrated the city's all-encompassing cyber systems and unleashed a savage urban war. As the mysteries deepen and the violence escalates, the power struggle between an enemy he cannot see and a corrupt ruling class he cannot trust will shatter Hunt's illusions about the world he lives in and force him into decisions he never dreamed possible. Resolver by Trent Whippler. 344 pages. Nice full novel here. We got cyberpunk science fiction, dystopian science fiction. Sounds pretty enticing, actually. I'm actually inclined to add that one to my the old TBR list. Might check that out later. All right, that's the books. That is the books. And now you might be aware of this already, Rainer. But now we're moving into announcements. For announcements, what I do is, if you're unfamiliar, what I do is, if people have something that they'd like to announce, whether it be book related, it could be related to your website. It could be, if, for instance, if people are on Booktube and they have like they want to announce a readathon, something like that. Also, if you run a blog, if you're looking for guest posts or submission calls, something like that, I'd be willing to share that. If you make a video about it, I can play the video. But this week, I just have a few announcements, basically just housekeeping announcements, specifically for Live Free, Live Rich. And the first one I'd like to bring up is a little shout out to a YouTube channel. That's right, a YouTube channel that I was featured on earlier this week, last week, Saturday. You are familiar with this. I had a piece on Authortube After Dark. Yes, I had a piece of flash fiction on Authortube featured on the Authortube After Dark podcast show. And that is on the channel run by Katie at Year of the Author. And I just want to give her channel a quick little shout out. What she does, she's a professional editor. And what she does, she runs live streams typically every Wednesday and Saturday. And what she does, she accepts open submissions for first chapter critiques, but also if you write flash fiction. So if you write a piece of flash fiction, or it could be the first chapter of a novel that you're working on, and she has a segment in her live streams, usually run a lot longer than mine do. Hers will go on for, sometimes it can be as long as like 5 hours, but she'll do like, she breaks it up. She'll do like reading sprints or writing sprints in between different segments. And I think that it's the reason why I want to bring it up, not just because I had a piece featured on there, but I also think that this is a good resource, if you will, for independent writers to kind of, get featured on a podcast, but also to receive feedback. I like that it's a very laid back type of atmosphere on the show. And it's just her. She usually has 2 co-hosts with her, and they're just basically just hanging out, and they're read the piece. They'll read your piece out loud and then provide some commentary. It's fun because they usually have quite an active audience too that will chime in and, you know, crack jokes and stuff like that. It's a good time. So if you check that out, I'll leave her a link to the video that my piece was featured in the description down below, and you guys can check out her channel. And moving on, we have, just want to give another reminder that the Storytellers Society is open for submissions right now. As of right now, still accepting open submissions. That could change in the future. Might be that further down the road. Depends how many participants I can garner throughout the rest of this year, through the remainder of this year. I'll see where the project is at by the end of this year, and maybe reevaluate my plans for the project moving forward. It could become an invite-only thing. I'm not sure, but as of right now, still accepting open submissions for that. So I know, Rainer, you've participated in that. And if we can spread the word around, maybe get some more people involved, some other independent writers. This is just another opportunity that I'm tossing out there in the creative sphere for independent writers. Maybe if you're in between projects and you want to have something, you know, a small little project in between, because I know, well, I don't know about in terms of writing novels, but I imagine when you're writing a novel, it's a very large project and it's taking up a lot of resources in terms of time, energy, effort, and perhaps even finances. And you know, when you're so invested and you're putting all your eggs into one basket, so to speak, for that, you know, it might be nice to have something small and quick to kind of just give you a little, if anything at all, a little bit of a confidence boost, if you will, to just feel that you've accomplished something. You've got something out there in the world, and you're continuing to build upon your reputation and your name as a writer. So the Storytellers Society. And then last, just to bring up, the LFLR network is on Discord. The Discord is not extremely active right now. Well, it's not really active at all, minus me posting updates as far as what's going on with the network and with my projects. But I'm hoping to get maybe some more people involved in the Discord. Hey, see you, Rainer. And thanks for stopping by, man. And get some more people involved in the Discord. And this could be basically just a hub. So I don't have to screenshot all the Twitter and stuff like that. The Discord could just basically be a hangout hub or a place where you can kind of just drop your links. So if you don't catch a post on Twitter, you don't catch the live streams, the Discord is basically just a place where you can just drop in, hop on the Discord, and just drop your links as you will. And that way I can just go there and collect the links and prepare for the show that way, instead of constantly having to post on Twitter and collect links that way. So figure I bring it up. If you guys join the Discord, there's no expectations of you whatsoever. You don't have to be engaging on the Discord every single day. If you want to chat in the Discord, you're more than welcome. But if you just want to hop in, if you just want to drop into the Discord just to share your links, that's perfectly acceptable as well. That's all I got to say on that one. So that's the announcements. And before I get into reading time, it's hot in here. Before I get into reading, I will talk about sharing videos. So normally there would be 4 segments to this podcast, or whatever you want to call this Monday live stream, where I'd do some reading, and then after that I'd end it with some videos. Now, videos that you could share, preferably from YouTube, because then I don't really have to like watch the whole video ahead of time. But it doesn't have to be from YouTube. It could be from an alt media source as well. Like I've had a video on here before from BitChute. I'm on BitChute as well, by the way. I'm also on Minds.com. Don't do a lot with Minds and BitChute. I just upload highlights and stuff like that. But if you share video from your YouTube channel, then I can tag your YouTube channel in the description, and also it can be like, you could do book trailers. Book trailers is a big one. I'd like to see, like, that'd be cool if more people could take advantage of that, where we do like book trailers. So if you do book trailers, I'll watch your book trailer and then maybe give a little bit of commentary or first impressions as far as that goes. If you're into comedy and you do, say, bits, skits, or sketches, that'd be cool to watch some of those videos during the live stream, I think. And then, like, if I don't watch it's on YouTube, okay? So I assume that it'll be okay. It'll be clear to play on YouTube. But you can kind of gauge my first impressions, my first reactions to your comedy routine. I think that would be fun. Yet to get anything like that on the live stream. So if you do it, you would be the first. Also, like, tag videos, like I mentioned before, and then lastly, like, say you do readings. So if you do a poetry reading and you upload it, you read your own poetry and you upload it on YouTube and kind of make a production out of it or something like that, I can share that on the live stream. Or if you have, say, like a web series that you produce and you want me to play like a pilot episode or something like that of your web series, and kind of give people like a sneak, like a preview of your web series, that would be cool. And I could do like a commentary or something like that while watching the series, because I know I actually do subscribe to some channels. But the way that this works is I'm not going to feature something on the live stream unless I have prior permission, if you will, to feature it on the show, or unless my work or my name is tagged in it in some shape, fashion, or form. So in other words, if you tag me in a video, then I may feature the video on the live stream. Or if any of my work is featured in a video of yours, then I might feature that on the live stream and give you a shout out that way. Or if you do a tag video, like I said, and you tag me in it, then that's another way as well. So let's get into some reading, shall we? And I do have this is a writing related. I think this is the first time I've had something that is specifically writing related to read on the live stream. But let's see the request. It's cool to finally have something that is writing related to talk about. Coming from Twitter, from a user by the name of Droid's Journey Fiction Fun. He said, they write, my blog is fictionfun234.wordpress.com. I post every weekday about fiction and topics related to fiction, including literary devices, tropes, and even reviews, among other things. So very interesting. And I think the one that I chose, and he didn't give, I think the link that he had brought me to Chekhov's gun versus plot twists. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Chekhov's gun, but you're about to learn what that's all about. And that is the Twitter handle. They didn't give me a name, and I didn't see a name attached to the article, but that's the Twitter handle where you can find them, and their website, fictionfun234.com. I have plenty of time to talk about this too, so that's good because I want to delve into this and kind of share my thoughts. And if you guys would like to chime in as well, you can join the live stream live and be a part of the chat, which would make you a part of the show, an active part of the show. But if you're watching this on the replay or video on demand, you are always welcome to drop your 2 cents in the comment section down below. Okay, let's see this. Chekhov's gun. You feeling lucky, punk? All right. So Chekhov's gun versus plot twists. So the difference between the two. There's a principle in writing called Chekhov's gun. Chekhov's gun states within a story, if a gun is loaded and hung on a character's wall in the first act of the story, then in the second or third act of the story, the gun should be taken off the wall and used. I do have an example of Chekhov's gun, and like quite literally, which made me think of a movie that I watched, which was actually based on a novel, but it was a movie that I watched like maybe like a couple months ago or something like that. I don't watch TV like ever, and I very like rarely I will sit down and watch a movie, but I did like a couple months ago, and I did like the movie even though it was quite divisive, pun intended. In a more direct sense, Chekhov's gun is meant to teach that details in a story should have a purpose. Like the original premise suggests, if you create a detail within a story, you must eventually use that detail in an impactful way in order to create a cohesive story. Even if a detail is eventually revealed as a red herring, that is still enough use to make the detail practical. Chekhov's gun specifically warns against leaving a detail unused. Yeah, so what I wanted to say was that the movie that I watched, maybe some of you have seen it before, and you can let me know in the chat, but the director or the screenplay, I don't know if the screenplay was written or just directed by, but it was, what's his name? His last name is Peckinpah. I think, let me see. He's known for making, controversial type films. Yeah, Sam Peckinpah. And it was Straw Dogs was the name of the movie. Not the original. I watched the 2011 adaptation. Anyways, in that movie, there's quite literally, it's like a blatant example of this Chekhov's gun. And I knew what it was, but I didn't remember what it was called, that it was called Chekhov's gun. But there's quite literally, so I think now that I read this article and reflect back to that movie, I wasn't sure if that was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing or almost like a satirical. I'm thinking that it was kind of like a satirical element to the movie, because the way that they used it at the end. So what it is there's a bear trap. This couple, they go to this the woman's family home or whatever to kind of do some renovations around there, whatnot. And there's a bear trap that's hanging above the fireplace in the movie. And you see it in the first act. And then it comes up again where it accidentally like falls, or almost like, hit someone in the second act. And then he's like, oh, help me out with this. They hang it back up. And then in the third act, it actually gets used at random, just on somebody. So I'm thinking that it was like one of those things where it's like it was being self-aware in terms of this example. But I agree. It's like, it's just to show like details when you're writing. I totally agree on this. When you're going to put like finer details in there, like in the story like that, I would say even in the case of like world building, like even if it has to do with like world building, it should have some semblance of use in the story somewhere, even if it's only like minute. Like even if you're saying, oh, there's a bunch of the guy, he slips on a banana peel in some chase scene or something like that. And he's like, well, where the hell do you get a banana peel? And he's like, oh, well, they're on an island and there's banana trees everywhere. Something like that, you would say. That's a stupid example, but it's still an example nonetheless. You say they're on an island, it's decorated with banana trees everywhere. And then, oh, the guy slips on a banana peel in the chase scene in the third act or second act. Something like that. You see what I'm saying? Not to say you'd have to use bananas in that way, but, why would you bring up the details? You know what I mean? If not to be used at a later point. First and foremost, Chekhov's gun is a warning against leaving details unused within a story. However, with that being said, Chekhov's gun can also be taken as a warning against creating a plot point which has not yet been built up to through the context made within a story by the details that have been used. So, while Chekhov's gun is typically, if you show a gun in Act 1 of the story, have someone use the gun in Act 2 or 3, sometimes it can typically take the form of, you should not have a character take the gun off a wall and use it in Act 2 or 3 of the story if we did not see that gun being placed on the wall in Act 1 of the story. In both of these ways, Chekhov's gun encourages the use of details and plot devices in order to properly structure a story in a cohesive way. Now, in that sense, I wouldn't... Technically, yes, it is a plot device, but it's not just a plot device in the sense that if you're going to use plot devices, I think basically the point that they're making here is that have some sort of setup ahead of time. In other words, And also, I think he's going to get into plot twists here. So I'm not going to say everything I want to say right now. But basically, in this paragraph, alluding to the idea of using setup to set the stage for the grand finale. So it doesn't feel as though the grand finale is just coming out of left field. And on board with that. In other words, what is the saying? I don't know, the details. For whatever reason, I hate that when I go live and I can't think of it. I can't think of the saying. The devil, there we go. The devil is in the details. Alluding to a mysterious element hidden in the details. Yeah, sort of works in this scenario. So the devil in the details. So when you're using the details, you say, oh, there's a gun hanging on the wall. I wonder why the writer is bringing up that. And you begin to, if you understand writing and you understand these, this would be considered a technique, a writing technique for building plot. Once you become aware of these type of writing techniques, then it kind of it alters the way that you view literature or just view any story altogether. So like when you start to pick up on these little clues that the writer is these little breadcrumbs, if you will, that the writer is dropping, and you're saying, okay, mental note, there's a gun hanging on the wall. I wonder what the gun is for. I'll be keeping an eye out for that. Mysterious, the devil in the details. So, moving on, because Chekhov's gun encourages the structure of a story in a way that builds on established details, it can in some ways be seen as an anti-plot twist. While Chekhov's gun uses details to build context, while Chekhov's gun uses details to build context, plot twists, by their very nature, create a plot point that goes against the context which has been built within the story. For some time, plot twists were used very frequently in stories as a way to surprise an audience. However, Chekhov's gun, as a principle, shows why that is a bad thing rather than a good thing. And let me finish this out before I chime in on that. Most frequently, good storytelling requires the building of a series of events which work together to create a context which helps build an expectation of what the climax of a story will be. Plot twists go against this method of storytelling by breaking the expectations of the consumer in a way that I would argue is often executed poorly in an attempt to, quote, outsmart the consumer. Yeah, and I would also say, in some instances, play them for a fool. For example, the dreaded "it was all a dream" trope. Now, here's the thing with the "it was all a dream" trope or cliche, plot device, or I mean, not plot device, plot twist. The thing about it is there's a good way of doing plot twists. I would say that not all plot twists come out of left field. Good writing, plot twists in good writing will leave hints throughout the story. Not unlike the Chekhov's gun, where the Chekhov's gun and the a good plot twist differs is the plot twist. I feel it's the context. It's not just saying, oh, there's a gun on the wall, and then that's it. Well, you're going to add another layer of, you could add another layer of context on top of that, or there could be some subtext involved as well. So like the gun could have in other words, you could find out later on in the story that the gun that's hanging on the wall actually has some deep meaning or something like that attached to one of the characters in the story. So it's not just the Chekhov's gun where you say, okay, there's a gun hanging on the wall and that's a plot device that's going to be utilized at some later point in the story, but also take it a step further and it could actually tie into a plot twist within the story. So the plot twist itself doesn't just come out of left field, because I feel like a poorly written plot twist are the plot twists that just come out of left field and it's like, surprise, it was all a dream, after you've already read, an entire book and you're like, okay, well, none of that was real. That's just not good writing, period. There should be hints along the way that would have you second guessing. Now, wait a minute, is this real? Or is this just in the character's head? That way it actually becomes engaging to the reader. It becomes an engaging experience for the reader, because now the reader at least has these little clues and they can kind of try to piece it together throughout the length of the story, instead of it just hitting them, instead of it just shooting them in the face like Chekhov's gun in the third act. Where was I? Meanwhile, Chekhov's gun is a tool that is used to ensure that a story is built upon a foundation that leads to a climax that fits the expectations which have been built by the audience. The ultimate goal of a piece of media should be to create a story and characters that the audience can relate to, rather than betray a context in order to surprise the audience. In this way, Chekhov's gun is, I don't know if that's totally related to that, and I think that's more based on opinion. I don't totally agree with that, and I also question the relevance in terms of how that has to do. But in this way, Chekhov's gun is generally a better principle to follow when building a story, rather than creating a superficial surprise for the audience by using a plot twist. Yeah. I'll definitely have setups. If you're going to have a plot twist, if you're going to use Chekhov's gun, then Chekhov's gun is basically just saying, if you're going to have plot devices, then set up your plot devices ahead of time, so the reader has the heads up. For instance, there's an example I watched it was quite some time ago, years ago. I actually sat down and watched all the Harry Potter movies. Now, if you know anything about me, I am not a fan of fantastical magic. Fantastical magic is okay so long as it's grounded in some semblance of principles. In other words, a magic system, a cohesive magic system that is consistent throughout the series. And I remember there's a part in one of the movies where it's just like it's just like magic is used. I can't stand when magic is used as a plot device, where it's just like, in this instance, it would say, okay, this is anti-Chekhov's gun, in the sense that, yes, we know there's magic. So there's magic established in the first act. But then you can't just turn around and say, oh, character's stuck in a jam. So instead of building tension, or instead of having some setup ahead of time to get the character out of there, well, now what you have is a situation where it's like, it's called the Deus Ex Machina, where it's like, surprise, magic, and the character can get themselves out of the jam because magic. And I'm not a fan of that. There was like a scene, I forget what movie it is, but if you Harry Potter fans out there, you would know what I talk about. There's a scene where I think he drops his wand in a lake and the lake's frozen up or something like that. And there's a hole in the lake. If I remember it correctly, I don't know what it was, but he was reaching in this lake or something. I just remember he's reaching in the water and he couldn't reach something. And he just like, oh, magic. And it just, and he was able to like grab it or something like that. If I remember it correctly, I could be completely off here. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. But I'm just saying, not a fan of magic used as a plot device. But very interesting article. I like articles like this. This is the type of stuff that makes me think, and it's talking about storycraft, and actually reminds me, those of you following me on YouTube, I am putting together a special video. I am coming up with a new special here pretty soon. So keep your eyes peeled on that. And it is going to be an Authortube video on storycraft. So I won't reveal everything, the details about it just yet, but I am working on it and putting some, it'll probably be a little bit on the longer end. But I'm trying to produce something special for you guys that like watching videos specifically on storycraft, and see if I can generate a little conversation and share my own personal developmental insights or creative insights with you guys, and perhaps maybe inspire some writers, inspire some aspiring writers out there that might be on the fence and in terms of writing fiction. But yeah, that about wraps it up for this week. If you guys have any questions for me, this might not be it for me this week. I do have another video. I did get a shipment. I did get a shipment in this week of some books. So I'm going to probably be doing, I'll probably be doing a book signing video at some point this week, in between streams. So if you guys want to join me on that, it's just literally just going to be me hanging out, and I'm going to be signing some books on camera. And but if you want to hang out, chit chat, do some reading, or do some writing for yourself, kind of use it as like a sprint type deal and have someone to hang out with while you do that, more than welcome. And yeah, in the meantime, share those links. I'll be posting the highlights on social media. You know where to find me. All the links down below in the description. And I'll see you guys next week. Ooh, yeah.